Hi, it's me again, Jack Wallen. That's right, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. My fingernails are boring today, I'm sorry. So, this little discussion that I'm going to have with you, I guess, is it a discussion? You're not actually, whatever. This was inspired the other night when I was working on my latest novel, Aftermath, which is a sci-fi novel. It's my first true sci-fi novel. It's also officially my longest novel. I'm about to hit 100,000 words, which is awesome. I don't know why I'm so pumped about that, but I am. Uh, so I'm going to try to, I'm going to explain this to you without giving you any details because I don't want to give anything away, obviously, because I'd rather that you read the book to discover what's happening within this realm. So I was writing it along, just singing a song. No. And I, from the very beginning of this book, my goal was to write something that made sense. And you would read it and go, yeah, that's plausible. I can understand that. Similar to the way I did iZombie I wanted to write a zombie book that people could believe. And that was my intention with Aftermath, to write a sci-fi novel that anyone reading it could go, yeah, this might happen. So I'm nearing the end, or I'm getting kind of close to the end, and something happened in the storyline that made me go, wait a second. Does this fit with the theme of believability in this novel? Or are people going to come to this point and go, oh, he M. Night Shyamalan the book? And I thought really hard, long and hard about this, whether or not I should go this route. But then I thought, well, clearly the universe is telling me to do this. And the characters in this novel are saying, yeah, let's go this route. So I decided to work with it. I decided to just, or run with it as it were, and say, okay, you've been with me so far. You've believed this story. Even though I've thrown in some things that don't exist now. Obviously, I mean, it's sci-fi. I made up a bunch of technology. So I thought, well, if people are willing to go along with that to this point, then they're willing to take that extra jump and go with it. So I said, plot twist, let's write it. And that's what I want to talk to you today about. Plot twists. Now, this is not solely about writing a book. In fact, it's probably not about writing a book. It's about so much more. Have you ever been doing something or experienced something or dealing with someone and you just wanted to shout, plot twist, and change everything? Have you ever been pondering your life and where it has been, where it is, and where it's going, and thought, yeah, I need a plot twist? Think about it. Take a little moment right here and think about your life. And think about how many plot twists you've taken throughout the years. You can apply it to anything. Let's examine my life. And we're going to examine my life in terms of my careers, not other things. Let's not get too personal right now. So, in my life, I have been the following things. Now, we're not talking about like my first job in high school, which was in a very small department store. And it only lasted one summer, and I was devastated when they let me go, even though I knew they were going to let me go because of school. I was still devastated because I liked, coming, I was born and raised in a very poor family, and having a paycheck was a big deal to me. Anyway, so let's talk about after college, okay? So after college, the things that I have done for jobs include I built bicycles for a company. I was a professional actor for decades. I was a hairdresser. I worked in PC support, professional writer, which is what I am now. And there are probably a lot of things in between there that I've done. I worked at a professional audio installation company where I installed audio systems in buildings that were hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they were incredible. And that's kind of where I developed my audiophile sensibility, because you've never really heard anything until you've heard a $300,000 audio system that has been tuned by a world-renowned professional. It was amazing. But at the same time, it was also dangerous climbing up scaffolding to hang speakers and all that. But anyway, so I've done a lot of things in my life, a very lot of things, and I'm sure that you have too. You've probably had more jobs than you care to think about. And I know that I'm not that different within this respect, but I when I think of the word job, I get tense, because job implies doing something that you don't want to do. And believe me, most of the people I know hate their jobs. I could go into something a little bit more political and deeper than that, but I'm not going to. But let's just say most people don't like their jobs. So we're really talking, I guess, even career. What's your career? And it has always bothered me that when you meet somebody, one of the first things they ask is, what do you do? What do I do? In what respect? What do you do for a living? Enjoy life? I don't know. So, how many times has your life taken a plot twist? A plot twist can be anything. It could be a change in jobs. It could be leaving a relationship. It could be moving out of the house. It could be buying your first house, buying your first car. There are so many plot twists in life that it's almost impossible to look back and go, well, how many were there? How many plot twists have I had in my existence now? I mean, I could start from my very first plot twist that I remember in my life was when I was diagnosed with what is called hip and calf perthes, which essentially the blood supply was cut off to the top of my femur and it disintegrated. So I spent a year in Riley Children's Hospital because it was a long time ago, and they were kind of experimenting on what to do. I was in a full body cast, I was in traction, I wore special shoes, I wore a brace, and then eventually they said, well, none of these are working. We're going to have to operate, and we're going to have to put a pin in your leg and blah, blah, blah. That was my first plot twist, because I was a 7-year-old boy who all of a sudden could no longer walk. That's big, because I was used to going outside and running around and playing tag and doing all these little kid things that I could no longer do. And I spent so much time dealing with this that it changed the course of my life. And then the second plot twist was when I was in high school, I was in the upper 1% in biology in the United States in my graduating class. And I was expecting to leave high school and study marine biology, because that's what I wanted to do, and that's what my biology teacher had been gearing me up for. And probably the most important moment of my life was when I auditioned for my first show. It was a musical called Babes in Arms. And that, once again, profoundly changed the course of my life. And I'm guessing the next major Next major plot twist was going to undergraduate school, because I left an abusive home, and all of a sudden discovered that life was so much more than fighting and yelling and locking kids in closets and all sorts of horrible things. And then the next plot twist would have been, I was actually planning to, or hoping to, go to the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana to study acting. They offered the Stanislavski method, and I was accepted as the first alternative, and unfortunately no one dropped out, so I didn't get to go there. So I instead applied to Purdue University, and I got in. That was another big plot twist. And they go on and on and on and on and on. Getting married, getting divorced, you name it. The plot twist happened. And for the most part in my life, those plot twists have come naturally. It's just been a normal evolution of my life. And it just so happens the universe said, no, let's not go that way. Why don't you go that way? And it happened. Now, the night before last, I'm not quite sure how these thoughts came into my mind, but I started pondering the idea that, and this is even hard for me to say, but I started pondering the idea that I'm no longer an actor, that I'm just a writer. And I told my wife that, and she was like, you can't quit that. You have a gift. And to walk away from that would be a shame. And I continued thinking about it, and I realized that that was probably one plot twist too far for me, because over the past few years, I have had so many personal plot twists that were, some of them were soul crushing, that I didn't think that I could handle this particular one. And especially considering that I have the Me and My Muse project, which has kind of came to a standstill for various reasons. And I started doubting myself. I started thinking, this is too much for me to take on. And I can't find a lighting designer, a set designer. There are other things I have to consider, like selling tickets and all sorts of things. Financing some other aspects of it. Like, I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, I was serious. I was seriously close to going, no, I can't do this. I've got to scrap this project and just focus on my writing, because I can write anytime. I don't have to have a set schedule, even though I do. I'm not out of the house all the time, and there's so much I don't have to memorize the script. But at the same time, being an actor has defined me for decades. And if I'm going to have a plot twist with regards to acting, I want it to be something positive and not negative. I want to add to it instead of remove. Because I don't know. There are certain plot twists I can consider that might be coming in the future, and I think, well, okay, that I could see that happening. But if I think about walking away from the thing that defined me for so many years, I don't know how I can deal with it. And so I think about this a lot. And I don't know why I think about it a lot. And it's not that I fear change. I don't fear change. I embrace change. But at the same time, there are certain changes, like walking away from acting, that would cause me to have to reevaluate who I am and what I am, and redefine what makes me me. And I know that at the core, you could take all of that, the acting and the writing and all that, and just say you're an artist. And any plot twist that happens within the boundaries of you being an artist is probably considered a good thing, because those plot twists tend to make you evolve. They force you to evolve. But even so, that idea of such a major plot twist in my life is challenging. Another thing that kind of brought this up for me was I've started researching Stoicism, the philosophy of Stoicism. And it really wants you to evaluate your life and reflect on your life. And I believe that reflection is a very important tool to help us grow. Because if I sit back and I say, okay, let's reflect on my life over the past 5 years. And I have to start thinking, okay, well, in those past 5 years, I have done 2 shows. Cabaret, and one that I really don't want to mention because it was such a horrible experience. And that's another thing. The last show I did was such a horrible experience that I don't want to leave this planet with that being it, because I think that will be doing a disservice to me as an artist. But in reflecting on that, and this is where it gets really tricky, and this is something that I think that everyone should really do, this reflecting. Because when I get really serious about the reflecting on my life over the past X number of years, I realized that as far as my art is concerned, 2 things have always been there for me: my writing and my film projects. And I actually include these videos as a part of my film project because I've had to learn so much about this art form. And if I really think about that, if I give that the weight that it deserves, then I think, well, over the last 5 years, and this is really kind of profound and telling, I think. Over the last 5 years, I've done 2 shows, and those 2 shows comprised of roughly 6 months of my life, including rehearsals and performances. Actually, including preparation, rehearsals, and performances. 6 months of my life. That's not much. And you might be able to stretch it to 7 months, especially given how long it takes me to memorize. But 7 months out of 5 years. Now, if I think about writing, it's been 5 years of 5 years. There have been maybe, just maybe, a handful of days over the last 5 years that I haven't written, that I haven't been working on a book. And you can even extend that way beyond 5 years. Probably for the last 10 years, there has maybe been 2 handfuls of days that I haven't written. So, in that regards, writing has been the major factor of helping to grow my artistry. And acting has kind of taken a back seat to it. And that's a big plot twist for me. Because for, 30 years of my life, acting was my conduit to my soul. And thanks to a plot twist, that's not the case anymore. And I can go way back 20 years ago, probably, to find out where that plot twist was, and that was when I left stage one. I left because they were disbanding the rep company, and I realized that I didn't want to do a work for a company on a job by job basis, and because it was just too hard, and it's financially wasn't feasible, especially because I now had a wife and her kids to support. So that was kind of the start of this major plot twist that has kind of evolved over years. Now, here's what I would say to you, if you're still listening, because this has been probably kind of boring to you. Take the time to reflect on your life and take note of the plot twists that have happened and how they have changed you and your life, how they have changed the way you navigate this world. And when you do that, when you seriously put the effort to reflect on your life and reflect on those plot twists, you'll start to discover, you might discover a theme. You might discover a theme of plot twists that have happened to make you who you are today. Or you might discover, oh, okay, there are certain plot twists that were positive for me, and there were certain plot twists that were negative for me. How do I avoid those negative plot twists, and how do I encourage those positive plot twists? And when you do that, you can all of a sudden go, okay, if I do this, my life will be better. If I avoid this, my life will be better. If I continue following that theme of negative plot twists, my life is going to continue to take a nosedive. Now, we all know that life is a series of ups and downs. If life were just a continual uphill, I guess downhill, I don't know. If life were continual, if life was consist of all ups, we would have nothing with which to measure the ups. I know it's crazy, and I thought of this the other day. I thought, well, but this is again when I was reflecting on my life, and I was thinking about some of the bad things that have happened to me, and then I started realizing, thanks to the Stoic philosophy, was that I started becoming thankful that those things happened to me. Because number one, when those things happened to me, they always inspired me to seek out positive change. And they also served as a reminder of how good life can be when good things happen, when good plot twists happen. And it made me appreciate the good things that have happened to me in my life. And so when you can approach those negative plot twists as a means for you to measure the value of the positive plot twists, then you might start seeing them as a helpful tool that will make navigating this world a little bit easier. And let's face it, in the world as we know it right now, anything you can do in your life to obtain something positive is a good thing. Even if it's looking back and appreciating how the negative plot twists, how the negative plot twists have helped you over the years. So even with that in mind, I can look back and say, okay, well, I haven't been acting much anymore, but it has served to make me appreciate that part of my life, and also to appreciate what writing has done for me. That writing has served as a means to an artistic end for me. And I know that the plot twists aren't over. There's going to be a whole lot more ahead of me, some bad, some good. And I have reached a point where I just embrace them. Because after reflecting on those plot twists for so long, I no longer fear them. I no longer worry that something is going to change in my life, because I know it is. And here's the crux of it. The important thing is for you to concentrate on the things that you have control over, and don't focus on the things that you cannot control. Some plot twist you can control. You can say, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to do that. Whereas some plot twist you can't control. The business that you work for may take you into a manager's office one day and say, you're done. Bye-bye. You have no control over that. Especially if it's like a downsizing. If it's job performance related, sure, you have control over that. Just do a better job. And that's all relative. But anyway, you understand what I'm talking about. Reflection is important. It is an important tool to help you grow. And those plot twists, when you add them all up, hopefully you're in the net positive area where you can say, yeah, a lot of these plot twists have been good for me. Even some of the bad plot twists, because those bad plot twists cause me to seek out something else. Life's a journey, my friends. We're all on it. And hopefully your journey is filled with ups and downs. Mostly ups. But when you look back on the downs, you realize, hey, they've helped me become who I am. They've helped me to become resilient. They've helped me to grow as a human, as an artist, as whatever. As a parent, as a child, as a brother, as a sister, whatever. So don't be afraid of them. Embrace them. And always take a moment to reflect, even if it's just reflecting on your day. What happened today? What happened that was good? What did I do that was good? Did I do something kind for somebody? Did somebody do something kind for me? Is there something that happened during the day that I need to learn from? Because trust me, there's always something to learn from. Anyway, thank you so very much for being a part of my little world here. I don't know if you learned anything today. Hopefully you did. Maybe I entertained you. I don't know. But what's important is that we're here together with the goal of being better. I hope that you, did I just say I hope? I hope that y'all have a, I'm sorry. I hope that you and everyone you know and love have a wonderful, wonderful day. Yeehaw.